To turn in English because of our visitors. I will talk today about knowledge-based economy in Egypt and Africa, and this will lead to Sustainable Development 2023. Next, please. Of course, countries call for science and technology as a direction for sustainable development, and as we know that Africa and the Arab region has historical achievements in science and technology, though for a long time the region neglected this important field. The great diversity in the scientific research between the different countries will give us the opportunity and will stimulate the cooperation in this field. It is our responsibility to use science and technology for sustainable development instead of for war and destruction of the environment. So I will talk at first about the ranking of Egyptian scientific research. As regard to the international publications, we rank 26th over 232 countries, and this means that we are in the first 11.2% among different countries worldwide, and this is a very good rank. About 70 Egyptian universities and research centers has been ranked by SAIMAGO classification during the year 2022. Regarding the innovation index, Egypt ranked 89th of 132 countries, and this is a poor rank. Next, please. So there are other KPIs that measure the rank of scientific research, and these are human capital and researchers, budgets allocated for the scientific research, attracting scientists to Egypt, or the brain drain of our Egyptian scientists to go to the other countries, equipped laboratories, collaboration between scientific research and business, and this is the most important because without being applied, without the researchers are applied, it's not so important. Contribution of scientific research to the GDP of our country. Next, please. So the rationale for wider application of science and technology lies in targeting provision of basic needs. We have to follow our basic needs and do the scientific research according to our basic needs. For example, in agriculture, researchers should be focused on holistic system of farming and improving smallholders and cropping pattern. In industry, more research provision is required for development of relevant technologies, innovative and cost-effective improvement of the existing technologies. In the energy system, there must be development for the renewable energy, the biomass and the solar energy and wind technologies that reduce the emission of the carbon dioxide. In the healthcare, science and technology should be applied to develop new modalities for diagnosing and treating diseases. In the field of environment, we have to conserve the valuable tropical ecology and to reduce the carbon dioxide emission. In water resources, we have to improve the recycling, the desalination, and the amelioration of the water management that we drink or for the irrigation. New technologies like electronic, biotechnology, and nanotechnology need to be much more developed and applied. Also, information technology could be utilized in the region for communication and exchanges of experience. The quality of human capital with gain from scientific and technological education, either formally or informally, is our route for that. So disciplines related to science and technology should have a higher profile in primary and secondary schools. The quality of teaching requires improvement and facilities as teachers, laboratories, and equipments. Technical schools and polytechnic schools should be given a more central role in the education system, leading to small and medium-sized enterprises. We have to teach our students how to think about forming enterprises. Appropriate research facilities and arrangement for scientific exchange should be improved more than that. Scientists and technologists must have a crucial role in decision-making in governmental mega projects and enterprises. So greater interaction between business and industry with higher education, science and technology is a must. Science and technology should be applied for achieving suitable development of business and industry. Linkage between business and industry on one hand and research institutions on the other hand need to be expanded, focusing on product development. Accordingly, if fund from the industry is allocated to research and development, reliance on the government-funded research will be reduced. The governmental policy is crucial to effective utilization of science and technology. So the parliamentarian agreed that government have the responsibility to develop strategies for science and technology within the framework of overall sustainable development policies and machinery for implementation and evaluation. The government should determine priorities, secure adequate funding, negotiate in multilateral forums, establishing bilateral cooperative arrangement, create and enable environment for the private sector and the community to establish its own scientific and technological research facilities. To fulfill our aim for from academia to industry, we have to evaluate the science, technology, and innovation indicators. And we have to make awareness and to tell people about intellectual property and innovative index, because intellectual property is the first step to apply scientific research. Innovation is built on 3 pillars: higher education, R&D, and R&D means research and development, and support from both the government and the private sector. So the higher education system will lead to reduction of educational expenditure from the GDP. The great density of the students have to be improved in the schools and in the universities. Passive learning and lack of critical thinking. Education curricula are irrelevant to the market and the employee needs, so we have to change this curricula. As regard to the R&D personal brain drain, Egypt has been steadily losing scientists. On the other hand, students studying overseas do not return home to their home country, Egypt. Government and private sector is very important as well, because building state-of-the-art research facilities is very important for the private sector. Program of the STDF encourage young researchers to return home. Current legislation make it hard for research. Current legislation makes it hard for research institutes to commercialize their own work for the private sector. Unfortunately, transfer of technology from R&D institute to the enterprises is very low in Egypt, and this makes the innovation index of the Egyptian very low. Egypt ranked number 135 over 142 in collaboration between academia and industry, and this is a bad rank. Researchers prefer to remain in the governmental jobs rather than to go and make business for their own selves. What are the examples of some obstacles which differ from one country to the other, but mainly these are the main obstacles, like policy instability, inadequate educational workplace, access to the funding, insufficient government bureaucracy, computation, poor work ethics at the national labor force, government instability, inadequate supply of infrastructure, inflation as we are living now, foreign currency regulation, crime, tax regulation and tax rates, and poor public health. Next, please. Okay, steps towards solving the problem. It is important to reform the university admission system to select students according to the need of the country and the talent of the students. The Ministry of Scientific Research and Technology offers support to industrial capacity building. Tax exemption have been offered to companies if they took something from the research and development to make some business in the field. Government intervention. Several research institutes have started programs for investors supporting knowledge transfer to industry, like the Science Park and the TICO. TICO means Technology Innovation Commercialization Office. And we have many universities that have Science Park now, like the British University, like Cairo, and Ain Shams University and others. The legislations, the governmental incentives and financial support program to encourage private sector to benefit from the R&D, and law in Egypt which facilitate the application of scientific research and give some facilities whether to the private sector or to the researchers themselves. Next, please. So I want to say some success stories for the application of R&D, like the molecular biology project, like the City of Scientific Research and Technology in Borg Al Arab, like Theodore Belhers Institute, like the National Cancer Institute, like the Aswan Heart Center of Magdi Yaoub. The National Research Center has many projects that have been applied. Central Metallurgic Research and Development Institute, Egyptian Petrol Research Center, Agricultural Research Center in Ministry of Scientific Research, the Dreamland Development Park, and here I would like to add also the BUE Development Park, the National Institute of Standards, and the ICT, which has given to the field, to the market, many projects which are based on R&D. Next, please. So what about the collaboration between Egypt and the African countries to build scientific basic economy and sustainable development in this field? Next, please. The governments of the region need to articulate in shaping global agenda in science and technology for sustainable development. The parliamentarian call upon governments of countries in the region and developed countries to act in concert toward this end. The governments in the region should be more actively involved in shaping the global agenda for the science and technology, reflecting the special and unique research demand of the region. Government, parliamentarians, industry, academia, academic bodies, non-governmental institutions, scientists and technologists, professors, and others, and laymen should unite to develop region vision in utilizing the technology for sustainable development. Partnership between the countries in the region with countries outside the region to utilize evolving results for science and technology. This will offer bright prospects for region in the global area. So what about the governmental cooperation with the African Union and other African organizations? The great diversity, as I said, among the countries in the field of scientific research stimulate that we must unite together in order to reach sustainable development. This was discussed at the AMCOST 4, which was held in Cairo in March 2010 to resolve, it's 2012, I'm sorry, to resolve the launch of African Decade of Science, Technology, and Innovation. Egypt chaired the AMCOST for a long time. It was also a great opportunity to host the meeting of the AMCOST during 2012 and the African Union in order to put a certain strategy for uniting the African countries with Egypt. The president